warm out because what a tumultuous week it's been in so many different ways. Welcome to week 8 of the BEBC BS Podcast. Sorry, folks, we're a little late this week. We had some scheduling snafus that we couldn't work around, but here we are, and we got a lot to talk about, so we're not going to waste time doing a whole lot other than just getting right into it. We'll start with a game that needs to be reviewed. And there's a lot of things that people want to say. And Alan's already got his hand up, so go!
Mark, I'm emotional again.
Oh, boy, here we go.
It's been a couple weeks.
Did she catch his eye?
I'm kind of emotional, and today I was riding my bike. Yes, I rode 15.6 miles in 58 seconds with 29-inch fat tires. So, yes, I am. Whatever. Anyway, so listening to some Steely Dan, Asia. And, you know, when you hear Black Cow and you hear him say, drink your big black cow and get out of here, those lyrics motivate you to think, you know. And so, you know, it just fed into my emotional state that I was in. And it reminded me of a friend that I had, Maggie. And Maggie, you know, used to cut a rug.
Here we go again.
Or at least she thought she did. And so actually this moved me to song.
Okay.
And so I feel that I need to share this in song, okay? David, could you pass me the lemon water? After the party was over, Maggie went up to her room, put her false teeth in water, put her glass eye in a spoon, put her peg leg in the corner, and hung her old wig on a wall. There wasn't much left to poor Maggie after the ball. Can you feel the emotion there? And so what I have to say is, with last week's offense, I dedicate that to the offense. You can have the best pearly white dentures. You can have a sparkling sky blue glass eye. You can have a hairless, smooth peg leg. And you can have a wig designed by Jose Hebert or Tony and Guy. Doesn't matter. But when you go to a dance, you have to be able to dance.
Well said.
And I will never get that 5 minutes back.
And all I got to say is execution, like Maggie on the dance floor. Either you execute or you don't. And
See, makes total sense to me now.
See, I'm kind of...
Dude, that's our podcast, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see y'all next week.
I'm kind of overwhelmed with emotion, you know, because when I look at our offense the last couple of weeks, I just think of Maggie. You know, it's all hype. You know, the greatness that could be, but there's just not execution. I can remember having a coach tell us that they pound into kids to do certain things, and when the game starts, the kids do whatever they want.
Yeah.
And so I'm not calling anybody out, but I know that around the Metroplex, there's a lot of angst about Allen's offense, and it's just, I think a lot of it is just execution. You know, you do a pass, and that defensive end comes running down and tackles our quarterback before he can square up to throw because nobody is blocking the backside.
We are in week 2.
And there you go. And what does that have to do with it? Tell me what that means.
Well, yes.
That means they're not executing.
They're not executing.
Exactly.
They're trying things right now that they're just not quite there yet.
Right.
Let's be honest. Evangel had 3 true top-tier D1 defensive linemen on their defensive line, and it showed. No doubt it showed. Again, you know, our line wasn't executing. They weren't doing their jobs in a lot of cases, especially on some of those passes. But it was a full, in my opinion, a full team effort. I mean, they weren't executing. I think some of the calls were questionable. I think some of them were drive killers, in my opinion. You know, we were moving down the field, and then something would get called, a play would get called, and I mean, let's be honest. We're not coaches. We've been following Allen with them for many years.
We're conscientious.
We know the game.
Objectors.
We definitely know the game. My concern right now is that you would think with a team like Allen in our history and the type of players that we have and what everyone has said preseason that we have in place, that we would be executing and doing better even in a week 2 type scenario. I mean, we've got, give you an example, if we play like this next week or this Friday, Coppell hates us, period. I mean, the thing that they hang on their hat is that they're the last team to beat us technically during the regular season. So, I mean, if we play like that, we could lose.
And to repeat what Nolan said earlier, I don't think I'll get those 5 minutes back either. No, you're right.
Wow.
You're spot on, Nolan. But the things that everybody's concerned about, I do believe, are fixable things. We have the talent in place. It's not like we have a 128-pound guard.
Yeah.
We've got the talent. We've got the guys have got to come together and execute better
right now
over me. So no matter what play you got called, if you're not beating the guy in front of you, that's what's got. And those are fixable things I think we can get done.
Well, and you bring up a good point too, right there, Thad. I mean, we do have the talent. We almost lost a big part of that talent pool late in the game when they probably shouldn't have been in that game.
Booby Miles.
Whoa. That's a reference for you. I think
that went old school, buddy.
It was old school. James, David, chime in. Your thoughts on the offensive side of the ball?
Yeah, so on the offensive side of the ball, like you guys said, it's week 2. People have got to get some discipline and routine in as far as blocking. I think blocking is a huge part of what needs to improve. I think Grant is starting out his first starting year, and he's got to get into a routine also. I think for all the kids, there's stuff that they've got to figure out and got to fix. But as Thad has said, it's early in the year, and they're going to be able to do it. It's all fixable. Number 4, for Evangel, the linebacker was absolute killer. He's going to end up going on to some D1 program and being a star, maybe in the NFL.
I think he's committed to LSU.
Yeah, well, there you go. So he knows how to play against the team, especially one kind of as young, at least in terms of quarterback talent, et cetera, as ours. But with some discipline, the blocking's going to get a lot better. All those plays that everybody's just kind of like gnashing their teeth over are going to start working, and a lot of that stuff is going to go away. Now that's the hope, and with some hard work, maybe that can happen. Some of the good stuff that I saw, Selden got some really good time in. He ended up going in the double back set in the second series, got some really good runs. He ended up taking the kickoff after halftime. Made a really nice return up to 35, 40 yard line almost. So, that's good positive stuff, and he's a runner. He's a bruiser.
He's pretty strong to be, they say he's 170.
He didn't play like it.
He plays heavier
if
than
he's 170, that's a solid 170
it's
that
like
I
Marcus
see. But
Ford.
man, he those legs just never quit churning, so that's good.
Yeah, and on defensive side, we just kind of light up when we get into the defense, but
We'll get there.
yeah. So offensively, we had a little bit of a struggle. Some plays that really worked. I think when we did a 2-back set, I'm not a real fan of that. It really compresses our whole offensive, inside the tackles, and I'm just not a real big fan of that unless we execute very, very well. We've got a little bit more time when things are a little bit more spread out to absorb some of those blocking, mistakes and stuff. So that's what I got to say.
David?
Well, it goes without saying that, we're all disappointed. I'm disappointed in their effort, but I know that they'll be better I mean, they seem to always turn it around and get there. But watching them be successful, running up the middle, almost every time that they do run it up the middle, the line is pushing the other team down the field 10 yards, and we get at least a 9-yard run out of it, and then we start straying away. And I know we have to try those plays, but maybe we're trying a little bit too often, and they're not there yet to pick up the blocking or pick up whatever else needs to happen. And we just need to maybe practice on that, not in a game situation as much as they were from what I could see.
I agree. The test on that's going to be when we get into district, and it matters a little bit more, and maybe the coaches take it a little more seriously, or just.
I agree with David. I think that, the offense was like Jekyll and Hyde. When we ran the ball, you couldn't stop them. I mean, it was the guys were pushing these D1 guys down the field like it was nothing, and whoever was running the ball, Brock or whoever, was getting 8-9 yards a pop, and then other plays are being called, and we're going backwards. And again, it's more of it's week 2, but it's like you said, it's more of a frustration from a fan standpoint. We're all fans here. Why are we doing this podcast? Because we're fans. We like doing it, and
I'm doing it for the money.
I guess some people
you're getting paid.
Appreciate our opinions on this, and so.
Who?
That's a good question.
Which one?
Well,
no one's grandma.
I think that
at least my mom.
The running is great, but it's you got to have the run to be able to open up. You got to have the pass to open up the run too. So we saw, I think, the first week a pass across the middle, and we were all shocked.
Yeah.
That there was actually, or maybe that was the Arlington Martin game.
That was the actual Martin game. Yeah.
And we've been asking for that for years,
Didn't see it week 1, didn't see it last week.
And, it was available then. It was open. I didn't see it or look for it this game, but, I mean, that's an opportunity or something, right across the middle, like y'all said before, out of the backfield. Just throw something different at it. And,
if you get some of those crossing routes to work, then you back those linebackers off the line of scrimmage a little bit, so they're in depth and coverage, and it's, I guess you would say, symbiotic. The run and the pass has to
complementary.
Well, if we don't have the speed to get around the corner, then we shouldn't be going around the corner unless we can back block.
Well,
on that.
And that brings up another point. It's like, okay, if we're going to call a pass play, we've got the talent. Our QB is 6'2". He can see over anybody on the line and so forth. Get him just let him back up and plant, do his reads, and wing the ball. The slow developing plays that we call to try and confuse the linebackers obviously weren't working on Friday, because they read that and they were crashing in on the insides and getting in through the gaps. So when he was ready to pull that ball up and start looking, he had no time whatsoever.
It was a mixed bag for me, and I think I'll say this until we all get senile and have Alzheimer's or whatever it's
next week.
I'm there.
Is Kyler Murray ruined us because we walk in with an expectation every week that Allen's going to drop 45 or 50 on everybody, and I think those days are over. And I know we have that. I admit we have that expectation, and maybe it shouldn't be that. These are different kids. It's a different coaching staff part of it, and it's a different time. And a lot of it is, I know for me, it's like, we only won 28-7. Well, you won 28-7, and I told y'all, earlier today, hey, we win every game 28-7. They're going to hand the Eagles a trophy at the end of the year. We're all going to be happy, and we'll say, hey, it was a great year. We won every game 28-7. But you do look at it and go, what in the heck is going on sometimes? Because sometimes it looks really, really bad. And other times, Brock had 175 yards on 14 carries.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and Brock was
4 touchdowns. How many?
Three touchdowns. He had a 60-yarder and he had a 32-yarder, and those were things of beauty to watch happen. Yeah. But you look at that passing game and you go, oh my gosh, what's going on here?
Well,
It was funny because before the game at the tailgate, Grant came by and I said, dude, you overthrew Theo last week. He was open. He goes, yeah. I said, tell you what, you just throw the ball to Theo every play. I said, I don't care how many, throw it 44 times to Theo. I said, let's just get him one. And so the first play from scrimmage, what was it? It was an out route to Theo. Second play from scrimmage, what was it? An out to Theo. I'm like, dadgummit, he's going to do what we said. It's like he's going to do
No
that.
disrespect, Carson.
Yeah. But I don't know. It looks really good at times in parts of it, but the passing game isn't there yet. And when that gets there, you're going to see what I think a lot of people's expectation is.
Well,
Then other teams are going to have to pick their poison.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
right now,
Yeah.
they're pressing on the outside with our receivers trying to shut the pass game down, and we're executing for the most part in the run game.
Yeah.
Well, they always say it. You interview any NFL team, when they're concerned about the other team, their first statement is we have to shut the other team's run game down.
Yep.
Well, right now, looks like people are geared up to try to shut our pass game down, and our run game is having success. Once that hat gets old,
Yeah, and
then
even when Grant ran the other night, not when he was being chased, but when Grant had a designated runner when he took off running, he was successful
well,
in that.
yeah.
yeah.
Now, when you're running for your life, it's a whole different story.
Well, I will say we did have one head coach say that he was calling up the field house to see if we weren't going to use Theo, if we weren't going to throw to Theo, that he'd like to get him traded over to him.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, he did. So that's kind of funny. So people are watching. They're very interested
They
in
notice.
what's going on here, and then not just us, but like you say, that was a coach. So there's other people watching what's going on in Allen. We switch gears here and flip on the other side of the ball, and I mean,
wow.
it's really hard to complain. I mean, the defense did not give up a point the other night. So in 2 weeks, they've given up 8 points.
1 point per quarter.
Yep.
And the backups are stepping up. Huge.
Yeah, we had Cornfed had a little ankle issue, it looks like, the other night. And what's his name?
Totally recoverable.
Mr. Williams stepped in.
Which number?
Luke
Oh,
Jackson
Marcus Thomas. I'm sorry.
and Luke Jackson
Yeah,
stepped
Number
in.
15.
15.
Yeah, Marcus
was
Thomas.
15 and
all over the
19.
place.
Yep.
And I had noticed
Marcus
it,
Thomas definitely.
in the scrimmage at Martin. I'm like, that kid can play. And
Yeah.
sure enough, he stepped in, and because Chase went out early. I mean, it was first or second
And
quarter.
I'll tell you what,
Second quarter, yeah.
Yeah.
defensive line wise, Logan Myers, number 94, ended up chasing that quarterback, number 18, around the corner, and just almost absolutely ran him down. For a big boy like that, that was awesome.
Yeah.
And so who finishes it off? Number 15.
Yeah.
Knocks him right out of bounds.
Well,
he should have gone out, but
that's
he didn't.
Probably some of the reason that they experimented with him at outside linebacker is because he does have that quickness.
Oh, yeah.
You know, he might not have the quickness to play the outside linebacker, but you put that guy with his hand on the ground, and he's probably going to be a lot quicker than the tackles in front of him. So
That's it.
We're already, I said it during our podcast after the scrimmage. So what I like to see is these kids that you don't expect come out from nowhere and really start to shine, and we're already seeing it on the defense.
Yeah.
It is. I'm telling you, Coach Kane has got some magic water he's giving these kids because they are playing.
They're stepping up.
They
Well,
are stepping up and playing.
Number
big-time
26, Nick
ball.
Boone.
the first game, we had 2 picks. The first,
picks.
Yeah, 2
Yeah.
picks.
and then this last
Tosh
week
and
we
Moore.
had 2, but one of them there was a penalty involved
Yep.
in one.
Yeah.
But 4 picks in 2 games, basically. I don't think I've seen
They're
4
working
picks
it.
in any two games Allen's played against, good opponents
Yeah.
in many, many years. So that secondary is, and a lot of that starts up front with the
Oh,
big boys getting the
exactly.
push.
Yeah.
You don't get to step into a throw.
We're seeing
Coverage sacks or coverage interception.
We're seeing guys getting, breaking through the line and pushing that offensive line back.
If that pocket's not clean, that throw is going to
That's right.
be off, and our guys are in position to make the play.
Angeloni had another good game too.
We did. It's calling a great defense.
The thing I tried to zero in on Angeloni a couple of times because the guy beside me said, I hadn't heard his name in a minute or two. So I watched him, and they brought this big, gigantic guard out and he didn't try to sidestep the guy. He took him on and then shucked him and got the and you would think this guy's 5'0" 100, but he has already set a lot of the weightlifting records at Allen.
Technique is there,
and so he's strong. So he's got his nose right in there, and that's very commendable. He's got big shoes to fill, coming in behind Mr. Tupou. So
he's doing it. Like I was going to mention, 26 Nick Boone and number 23 Mo Perkins are playing great. Mo's had a couple of the interceptions, I think, at least one.
Yeah, he had one, and then Takai Lloyd had one. Big
Taj.
Takai had a great game. He was all over the place, and I noticed his number being called quite a bit too on that side of the ball. So
to speak to that, we're playing a lot of that 4-2-5, and Takai is a safety sometimes in that package, and then Colton, I think they're kind of flipping it, and both of those guys bring the lumber when they come too, man. They really, and they get there in a hurry, and so.
And Evangel was getting a lot of pressure in on the special teams, the punters too, which I haven't seen in a while.
Yeah. Special teams gave up a 100-yard kickoff return, and we had a blocked punt. So again, stuff that can be fixed, but
that was tough. He took a four-step. He took a four-step
But
run on that punt, and it was one step too many.
10 people a lot of times.
They catch the snap.
They
didn't catch the snap. They bobbled the snap again.
Yeah, and then they
loaded the box.
Tried the fake play and penalty there, and that would have been sweet. But I was wondering when that was going to happen when they were bringing everybody.
At the end of the day, when all was said and done the other night, they gave up 78 total yards to Evangel, and probably 60 of that was on the last drive. Evangel
and
had in the game.
That was Louisiana's
second, third string.
last year's state champion.
And that quarterback went home to Louisiana a little sore.
Yes, he did.
He was tossed around like a rag doll.
Yeah, it was a tough game for them offensively, and so. At the end of the day, was it perfect? No. Was it pretty? Maybe not from our expectations, but it's a 28-7 win, and the Eagles are 2-0, and that brings us to this week when the last team to defeat the Eagles in a regular season show up.
Hey, that was 2012. That's like a long time
That's
ago.
5 years ago. It's been a while.
I've slept since then.
Coppell comes to town. I looked up some stats on Coppell this week. I actually did some homework.
Sweet.
And they're 2-0. They beat a really bad LD Bell team, which everybody beats LD Bell.
If I'm not mistaken, Mark, correct me if I'm wrong with all the stats you have over there. When we played them 5 years ago, they were undefeated as well.
They were. And what are you saying?
They were 2-0.
They were undefeated.
We were both 4-0.
Yeah, that was week 5, so it was later in the season.
But
they beat Bell handily 58-23, and then last week they played McKinney Boyd, and they beat them 34-24. But
that was at the end of the game.
It was a 27-24 game with 5 minutes left. And so I'm wondering, okay, my understanding of Boyd is they're supposed to be the cellar dwellers in our district this year, and I was like, what's going on there? And I went back and looked, and Coppell's put up pretty good offensive numbers. Actually, week 1 they had almost 500 yards of Bell. Last week they only had 273 yards total offense and only 39
yards rushing. No,
so,
on 29 rushes.
Well, they'll have negative.
They'll get negative yards this week.
1.3 yards.
That kind of made me feel, they're going to have a hard time running against this team.
Yeah.
And they've given up about 350 yards a game, and it's pretty equal between pass and rush there. So.
Well, they like the long ball. 2 of their touchdown passes were for more than 30 yards.
Yep.
And 1 for 60-plus yards. And then 2 field goals. They've got a kicking. They've got special teams. They've got a kicking game. 41 yards and 47 yards.
But we go back to what Dad said a while ago. But if you can't run the ball, Mr. Jernigan and Bunch are going to be.
I'm ready to see one of our kids step up, like Stephen Terrell, and start blocking some kicks.
He's got eligibility left?
No. Step up like Stephen Terrell did. He was the kick blocker.
Yeah.
Like Stephen Terrell. He was a kick
coming
blocker.
back?
The way we defend those punts and kicks now, the punts we don't. I mean, it's a different. We line up differently. I noticed this year and last year.
We just have one back.
Yeah, we basically got the one, but then the guys on the outside are not necessarily coming in like they used to in the past.
Status quo.
Yeah, they're just staying right there, and then the guys up the middle are the ones trying to break that triple mini line right there in front of the punter and so forth. So I don't know if we'll see a lot of. I mean, obviously Evangel got through last week, but
they speed came from the outside.
Yeah, it'd be fun.
Yeah, it's Coppell. It'll always be fun. That best student section every time. They just
in high school football.
In high school,
I think we need to go over and visit them and do a Coppell trivia.
Coppell trivia.
And we can bribe them. We can offer them gift cards, Neiman Marcus gift cards. $10.
Are we playing Highland Park?
No. Excuse me, guys. All Coppell students are jacked up on Advocare, so get them Advocare.
Oh,
yes. Well, they may not be anymore since Lil McDaniel left town. His dad was the Advocare king. So they may be toned down a little bit. They may not have that spark before the game.
Well, that was all they threw. That's what they threw up was powdered Avocare.
Is that what it was?
It wasn't baby powder.
It wasn't baby powder. It was that protein drink.
Well, it's good to know. I mean, Brady McBride, quarterback, is charged up, and he Friday can't get here soon enough for him, and that's good because I think our defense feels the same way about playing Coppell and
Was there something
it's going to be a test
about that? Did he?
He put it out a tweet.
tweeted.
It was real respectful. Nothing smack talking per se.
Good
He's
test,
just ready for it.
Good test with Alan this week. I live for nights
Looking
like
forward
this.
to it.
Yeah.
Friday
So
can't get
it
here
wasn't,
soon.
It wasn't really smack talking.
No, but it's a challenge.
Yeah.
We want to beat them, and they want to beat us. And
Well, and I'm going to be in Amsterdam, so I hope the old coach is in rare form, and I hope my string between my can and his is going to be tight enough.
Yeah.
So
Speaking of rare form, what about our student section last Friday night?
oh my gosh, they were live.
They were great.
They were there. They were loud,
Yeah.
and they stayed, and it was
did.
pretty awesome. They're starting the A up chant and fired up, and
Well,
we need that this
So
Friday.
do you think we're going to have a rival against Coppell student section? I think it might get.
And I was wondering if I could go to Amsterdam with you, so I'd.
You need some medication or
No,
anything?
I'd just rather not listen to that announcer we have.
Oh!
Well, you can still hear him over the radio.
Rant number 1 coming up. I called for it when it happened, and on Twitter, I called for the immediate firing of the man. And we've put up with this for how many years?
A long time.
Long time.
You need to sit up in the press box, and there's 6 minutes before kickoff, and you look across the field, and you can see the other team is not on the field, and call for the band to play the national anthem.
That's a no-no.
That's wrong. And you've got the view. You know they're not there. You can see. And, of course, the band director's in between. He's like, what do I do? And then, he called Brock Kirby.
Yeah.
Kirby's hadn't been here. Kirby is not here.
He's in Frisco.
And the mispronunciation of names, the wrong people called.
Wrong yard line.
Yard line, down. It's gone on for years. We are Allen. We have a standard, and he does not meet it. And I was so mad the other night. Alan was like looking at me like, dude, chill out. I'm like, no, it's unacceptable for us to put up with that. And I don't care how much money he gives to the school. I really don't. I know who he works for, and I know why he's there, and it's just wrong for us to have to put up with that.
It's not. It's in my opinion, it's demeaning to the game. It's demeaning to the fans.
It's embarrassing.
And the guy may be a great guy. I don't know, but that's not his calling.
Yeah, it's embarrassing for other teams to listen to that and go, "Oh my gosh, are you kidding?"
It's not. I don't know if they don't know any different.
Well, but he probably does it to their players too.
Well,
I mean,
yeah, touche.
It goes both ways. But I am. Yeah, don't tap that.
Yeah, sorry.
For those of you that
Don't
heard
unplug that.
that was
Don't
Nolan
unplug that.
tapping the microphone.
It's like my gum I was chomping.
I'm just done.
Well,
Hey, that defense played good Friday night.
Yeah, it did.
Y'all let me know when you're done, because I got another little pet peeve. I was watching an interview that Brady McBride did with that wonderful Friday Night
Glory.
Guts and Glory, or whatever. He's sitting there chomping gum while the guy's videotaping him.
What's wrong with that?
Seems to be Nolan's forte.
I know Gamble would never do
I kind
that.
of like it. I think the kid's gritty.
He is gritty. He's got true
He's got
grit.
Eddie Davis.
I thought his name was Brady.
He's got moxie.
I don't know. I had to
He's
rant
got
because
spunk.
I'm tired of it because it happens every single game.
Well, I
And it
texted
just wears
y'all.
me out.
I texted y'all when he called Brock Kirby. I'm like, did he really just call Brock Kirby?
Yep. I don't-
And is Evangel the bald Eagles?
oh, yes.
No,
the Evangel Bald Eagles.
Maybe we just got in his head.
I swore he said balding.
I don't
No,
know.
I think he
It was
said
bald.
bald.
It was
Yeah.
bald.
And no, they're not the Bald Eagles.
It's all right.
We are.
We are, dadgummit. Quit trying to...
And we
So
don't
he
play
gets
football
us
anymore.
confused with high school kids.
Well,
Jeez.
we do
We
act
are
like
a
it
little bit like
sometimes.
Yeah, because
No.
that's the
My
confusing
wife's
part.
fifth
We're
grade, not above
elementary.
Fifth graders. So,
Yeah, that's true. We're not even quite there to high school yet.
so anyhow.
But, kids have a way of speaking the truth.
Yeah.
What's on their mind. So
Thad,
there
on
you
the
go.
farm. You wanted to talk about on the farm for a minute.
What's going on?
Yeah, down on the farm, we're going to try to do this, give a little insight on what's coming up. Short and sweet this week. James, Alan, and I got to watch the JV game, and one standout. We have a defensive lineman, number 78, and I didn't have a program, and I looked in the deal, and I can't find a 78. His jersey number's covered up or something. But anyway, so I don't want to misquote what I think may be his name. When you have a defensive end that is on your starting kickoff, and he is the first one down, and he's laying wood, that's somebody to be looking out for. And, buddy, I'm going to get your name, and when we do, we'll bring it up again. But the offense down there, smooth as butter. They pretty much did what they wanted to against Trinity.
I like that.
And the defense was just the same. They were loaded up against them and stopping Trinity's run game, too. So there's a lot coming.
Sweet.
Yeah.
It's good to know, and that's typically the case. Appreciate y'all going and checking that out.
Yeah, it's a tough assignment, but felt we had to do it.
I appreciate that, guys.
Yeah.
For those of us that couldn't make it. James, you had a comment about Evangel's film crew, or
Well, yeah, I guess there was a little bit of a row. Dallas Morning News had reported that they canceled a game that they had following ours with Deion Sanders and his was it Trinity Christian School? And
Dion's.
yeah, so I guess they traded film, and they had given him some poor quality film, or what's supposed to be poor quality film, and there was some discussion, and so they basically canceled the game because of that. And I was thinking, geez, maybe they were filming it on the iPad, kind of like the one that coach had in our stands. But
interesting.
Well, I think you're
There's a
supposed to
lot
offer a wide angle view from the end zone and a view from the sideline. There's, I think, 3 different views that you're supposed to send to each other, and
pretty standard.
maybe they didn't meet up to that standard. Who knows? But
Yeah. But it's just kind of interesting with some of the past history, and some of y'all know it, with film. And Evangel is also a team that is pretty tight with their film. You're not going to go out there and look on the internet and look on Huddle and be able to see much of anything of their film unless it's a championship game or some old video. But just thought that was kind of interesting.
Yeah, I've never heard of that before, canceling a game over lack of film or bad film, so kind of a new.
well,
Sounds kind of
Evangel
weak
made
to
a
me.
liar out of them because last year they ran the quarterback under center and two tight ends and
Yeah.
a tailback and all kind of stuff, and they ran out of the shotgun spread all night long. Now they did bring in a tight end or two, but
Yeah.
they revamped their offense. I guess they, with what personnel they have, they had to tool it up a little bit. But thanks, guys, for making me a liar.
Yeah, a lot of two-way players.
Way to
A lot
go,
of
Bald
two-way
Eagles.
Jeez.
All right. Picks. We got to do picks. By the way, we're doing that for those of you who are following us on our Balding Eagle Facebook page. It's David won last week. David smoked it last week.
did?
I picked with my
Only
heart
two
too much.
13
13 and 2. And David, Mark, and Thad are all tied at 18-6 for the season. So pretty good percentage going on there as we get into this week's pick. Plano and Rowlett. David, we'll start with you.
Plano.
Oh, David's hanging with Plano as long as he can.
Plano's going to wipe the floor with them.
Thad.
Plano.
All right.
Plano.
James picks Plano.
Nolan.
Plano.
And I'm going with Rowlett. So
Ooh,
yes.
what
I'm
a
gonna
rebel.
Y'all are all going to smoke me on that one.
Rebel with a
Arlington and Plano East.
Arlington.
The Colts.
No.
Ditto.
Who's going to pick Plano East? It's certainly not going to be me. Arlington.
Well, I did pick Plano East, but upon further evaluation, I switched my vote to Arlington.
I'm going with Arlington as well.
How am I doing?
Two-timer.
At least I'm not calling for. Well, I made this pick after the game.
Professor Diggs, sorry, buddy, we just can't
Go back and listen. He did
with
pick.
your Panthers.
Yeah, he did.
He had
All right.
he picked the Terps.
1-1 South Lake Carroll versus 1-1 Rockwall. That's over in,
Oh,
in
my
South
God.
Lake.
Nolan?
Oh, my first? I think South Lake, it's at home. I'm going to take South Lake.
The battle of the cross country and baseball schools, man. It's tough. I'm gonna go with South Lake. They better not disappoint me, but it could fall down real quick.
Rockwall's got a good cross country team.
Yeah.
I'm going
They're
with the
baseball.
Dragons as well.
The Dargons?
Yep.
All right.
I think SLC bounces back at home, and I was shocked that they got manhandled by Martin.
Smoked last
Yeah,
week.
they did.
So, I don't know if that's indicative to what their rest of their season's going to be like, but I'm thinking Rockwall's probably going to have a pretty hard challenge to
right.
pull one out of there. So,
David?
Dargons.
Dargons for you, and I like the Dargons as well at home. We finally get to see Katy in the Woodlands. Both teams playing their first game. David, we'll start
And
with
it's
you.
good that they can.
That is at the Woodlands.
Katy.
although I think Katie's chomping at the bit because they haven't got to play, I think Nakia Watson's just going to be too much, and I'm going with the Woodlands at home.
Ooh.
I put down Katie.
All right.
I got Katie on this one too.
I picked Katy. Woodlands did graduate quite a few. It's a brand new team, and I think Katy was very young last year. So I thought, like you said, they're chomping at the bit.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Katy until they make me feel like not to. So I'll go with
All right,
Katy.
I'm going to separate this. Where the cream
right,
rises
all
to the
right,
top
all
right
right.
there,
That's it.
boys.
Dad, you're the
Or the
right
poop
so.
floats to the top of the pool. One of them.
And the Allen game of the week, Allen versus Coppell. Just
Coppell.
need your pick and your score.
What do we do?
David.
Allen 28-21.
Oh, he's picking a close one there. Bad.
Allen, 28, and they've got a world-class kicker. Coppell gets 10.
All right.
Give him a long field goal.
Allen?
Okay, and I'm going with the Eagles, and I'm going with 35-13.
Whoa. Okay.
And I'm going
Mark
with, I'm going with Allen. I think Coppell's going to get at least 2 field goals, and maybe a touchdown or 2. But I'm going to say
So is that 20?
42-20.
42-20.
Mm-hmm.
Nolan.
I'm going with Allen, and I'm going with 35-14. I think Allen is going to score a few more touchdowns, or at least one more.
But I swore that Nolan sent a text to us saying that Allen was going to shut Coppell out
I
this
think
week.
he did say that earlier.
Yeah.
Swore he did.
I have it right here. I think I could look it up.
Yeah.
I think if it's in text, you gotta. It's like being in blood.
Right.
Yeah. It's not like scratch.
That was
Yeah,
during
it's-
Margarita night
I'll go with
at
zero. You know what?
Jalapenos.
Change it. 35-0.
35-0.
Oh, my goodness. He's going for the shutout. I like your
Yeah, you might as well. I mean, you changed something else earlier, didn't you?
I as well am going with Allen. I think the defense.
No nuts with you, David. No.
Oh my gosh! I think the defense will step up, and I'm close to Allen's score. I had 35-10 rather than 35-13, so we'll see. Friday night 7:30, and we'll go from there, and that we'll have those. See who comes out on top with that. Rumor has it, Tab.
Oh, we're not doing college?
No, we're gonna do that Saturday.
Rumor has it. Well, there's not much out there on the rumor mill, but I did hear that the Allen Police Department has hired powder sniffing dogs to be at the gate. So you Coppell students, leave your baby powder at home because you ain't getting in with it.
Bring your Advocare.
And if you do get in with it, the other part of the rumor is that the Allen students are going to bring super soakers, and they're going to wet your powder down, and you're going to be yucky the rest of the game.
You're going to have wet powder pants.
That's it.
That's it for the rumor has it this week. Appreciate that, Thad. Well,
is it Gold Bond powder?
Ooh,
I think it's cornstarch, actually.
it could be.
Yeah.
It could be.
Oh, it won't be chafing.
Thanks, everybody, for listening. It's been another 40 minutes. Well, we had 40 minutes this time. That's
Well,
the
we
longest
can
one
cut
ever.
some. We can
Hey,
cut some
can
time
I-
out of that.
Can
Yeah.
I give a shout out?
Go.
Shout out to the Wiley Pirates. They are sending 3 charter buses full of
Amen.
students
Amen.
and
Corpus Christi.
equipment, supplies during their bye week to Rockport, and they're also the Pirates.
Yeah.
Heard that on the news today.
Good for them.
Way to go, Wiley.
Kids, it started out as just going to be 1 bus, and then before they knew it, the superintendent had to get 3 buses to get all the stuff they wanted to
Good
get
deal.
done.
And then they're going to play their fight song all week long inside the school in Wiley.
That's awesome.
So-
Way to go, Wiley.
Not that we have any listeners from Wiley.
Well, we might.
Yeah, we do.
We may.
We're close to it from here.
Yeah,
Wiley Coyote.
We are on the east side.
Turn the volume up; they can hear it.
There you go. Just turn the dish a little bit.
Turn it up for what?
Turn it up. All right,
Turn
folks.
down for what?
Thanks for
Is
listening.
it turned down?
We'll be back with you on Saturday for another edition. So until next week, 75, go live. It's over and we're out.